the desire is there, the passion to create something and do well at it is there, but I just don't know what it is yet, and
Yeah,
that's the hardest for me, is to find something. And again, if my back were against the wall, I'd already be doing them, right?
sure.
But that's just the case, and I think that that's what has caused me not to pull the trigger on it. I don't want to fail, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of, feel like I'm stepping off into such uncharted territory that's a very big concern.
Yeah. No, I can understand it. I mean, shoot, if I hadn't failed so many times, I'd be scared of it too, probably. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Entrepreneurship Simplified. I have with me my guest, friend, neighbor, son's baseball coach, Joshua Dale. Josh, thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you so much for having me, Keith. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you're here to do something that I can't get any other potential maybe wannabe entrepreneurs to do, which is kind of share your not started entrepreneur journey and just say why. Like, kind of tell us about your past and then, what's kept you from pulling the trigger so far on becoming an entrepreneur. So that said, why don't you just kind of start off by telling us your history? Like what is your work history? Where are you coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, I just recently retired after a little over 20 years in the Navy as a hospital corpsman. And along that kind of path to retirement, you and I had talked a little bit about me kind of stepping out of that and what was next. And you really kind of talked to me a lot about starting my own business. Explain to me a little bit more about what entrepreneurship is, and that's still where I'm kind of at, right?
Sure.
As you know, I haven't started that yet. I've been retired now for about 2 months, maybe just a little over. And I think a big part of that comes along with, some confidence issues and just not understanding the world that I may be stepping into, right?
Sure.
You spend a long time in the military and you get really used to having a steady paycheck. Um, the first and 15th, you know that there's going to be some money coming into your account, right? It may not
Sure.
be a bunch, but at least there's ability in it.
It's steady.
And, and that there's a lot to be said for that, right?
100%.
It's kind of the safe and secure um, method, I guess, versus kind of going out and really chasing some things and trying to turn something into something big, right? And I think that really is, if you wanted to break it down in its simplest terms for somebody simple like me, that's really what it comes down to, right? Is just whether or not I want to be able to chase my own dreams and sink or swim kind of on based on how I do with that, or find the safety and security in something that may not be as fulfilling, that may not give me the same opportunities and the same freedoms, but again, offers that safety and security.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of risk going in and getting your 9 to 5 paycheck, right? And at the end of the day, it blows my mind as a serial entrepreneur, but not everybody's made to be a risk taker. I mean, heck, my mother-in-law, she would never take a risk. There's just so much, she would never start a business. If I could guarantee her 100% chance that it will not fail, I still don't know that she would start the business. Because again, she's just super risk adverse, right? She just doesn't want to take that risk at all. So, and I can appreciate that. As you know, I ran car dealerships back east, and there was something to be said about having that steady paycheck every we got paid every other Friday. That money was going in there no matter what. And I got to the point, I remember when I first got my first paycheck, I hadn't had a paycheck since I was, I was 29 at the time. I hadn't had a paycheck since I was probably 18 or 19, like an actual paycheck. So I remember opening up and being like, man, like that feels weird. That just got dumped in my bank account, and got to the point where like I didn't even look at the pay stubs. It just got dumped in every 2 weeks. I know it's there. We're good. Don't worry about it. So there definitely was security in that, right? There's a definite security for the majority of people in America and the majority of people in the world. Having security means something, right? Um, Taking the risk of being an entrepreneur, it's not just risking your paycheck, the week to week, month to month paycheck, but it's also there's a startup cost to it, right? So like you're going to risk some sort of amount of cash to get started. So there's that is at risk as well. Like, I mean, in theory, it could all go away, right? You dump $25,000 into something and it's gone, and you have nothing to show for it. So I can understand and appreciate people like yourself who are like, I don't know about that. So that said, you still have this security from retirement, like I've said before, well earned. We're serving your country, well earned to have retirement. You're younger than myself. You've got a lot of years left to work if you want to. And assuming that you want to, continue to get more money so you can buy more cars, buy more boats, buy more fishing stuff, whatever it is, more toys. You have that opportunity available to you. So as you sit right now thinking, okay, hey, I could start my own thing. I could go back and, work for somebody else, work for anybody. Heck, I've told you, I'll start a business for you to run because you would be the best employee in the world. Like you're going to show up, you're going to get it done, period. What will ultimately help you decide, hey, I'm going to make that leap into entrepreneurship, or it's just not for me. I'm gonna go take the sure thing.
Yeah, well, honestly, you talked a little bit about risk, and I think it's, as I start to get a little bit older, right? And I know I'm not old, but I mean, kid, as you start to get a little bit older and you start to
Sure,
plan life in a lot more long term, you know, sense, I think risk comes in a couple different forms, right? And it's not always just financial.
sure,
I think time is another big gamble. Energy is another big gamble. And these are the things that I'm at. When you say where are you at with it right now, and these are the things that I kind of struggle with. Are the efforts that I may put in right now going to be fruitful quicker than the security of a stable job that may provide me an opportunity to work towards a second retirement or something to that nature.
sure.
uh, you mentioned I'd be a great employee, and yeah, first of all, I appreciate that. Let me know if you're hiring, and but in all seriousness, some people, like you say, are wired to do one thing more so than another.
Yeah, 100%.
Being an employee is something you're absolutely right. I think, I mean, I have a good work ethic. I have, I think, a good sense of integrity, things like this that would make me a great employee, but I don't know if they'll make me a great businessman, right?
Sure.
Um, that's one of the things that I really struggle with is if I were to open a business and provide a service, um, would I be happy with the type of service that I'm able to provide, right? And I'm
Mhm.
always, my own worst critic sometimes,
Sure.
but more times than not, in my experience, especially since moving here to Texas, in the Corpus Christi area, is that there have been a lot of businesses that really don't have that integrity. They don't have any problem providing a great service or a great product that meets my expectations. And so for me, some of the self doubt really comes along with, am I going to be able to provide something that I'm passionate about,
Mhm.
to make them feel that both sides won. Because to me, that is not just about, it's not just about finding a way to make some money. So those are the things that I really kind of struggle with a little bit right now.
That's really interesting. So you lay out a scenario and your mind thinks one way and mine thinks the exact opposite. So this is what's fascinating about eh, the the serial entrepreneur versus people who aren't, right? So you mentioned, since you moved here to Texas, how long have you been here?
I've been here for a little over 6 years now.
Okay, 6. So you've been here for almost 10. Right here just down the street from where you are. Um, when I felt the same way. When we were getting this house built, I was like, "Dear God, it's never gonna get finished. No one ever shows up when they said they're gonna show up." Like, again, I called 6 people to get gutters put on my, house, and the person that did it was the only person that actually showed up. He was the 6th person, he showed up, and I was like, "Okay, like, let's do it." He goes, "Well, I gotta put the price together." I was like, "It doesn't matter. You're the one who showed up. Like, it doesn't matter what the price is. I have to get gutters on because since our house is elevated above everybody else, they told me I had to watch the water flow because if I drowned out my neighbors, have liability for that." So it's like, I have to get the gutters put on. There's no option. Like, just get it done. How soon can you do it? And that was like my intro to being here, like, that's not what I'm used to, back in East Tennessee. They show up when they say they're going to show up for the most part. And obviously not everybody does, but it was nowhere near as hard to find people to do a good quality job as what it was when we first moved here. And I said, since that day that I ran into those issues first, I was like, man, I think you could start any home service company in Corpus Christi and be successful, or I could, because I would show up. And again, you're saying that, you have to be passionate about it. I don't have to be passionate. I'm passionate just about working. It's fun for me. Like, solving a new problem is fun for me. So, like, the actual service that I do, I don't have to be super passionate about it. It just, because again, I have fun working. I have fun producing something. So my thing is, I could start anything and I'm going to show up. And that's what I think about when I think about you. So that's how your brain differs from mine, is like, you're going to show up. It doesn't matter if you have 50 employees and all 50 of them flake out. Josh Dale will be at your doorstep when he says that somebody's going to be at your doorstep. If he has to be there in, his night clothes and slippers because it's, midnight and he's supposed to have a guy show up, you'll be there, because that's just who your personality is. So it's interesting to me that you think one way, like, hey, can I provide that service? And I'm thinking, there's no way you don't provide that service, just because, again, the way you're built, the quality of the person that you are.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. We've talked a little bit about it in the past, right? Some of the security and the safety that comes along with my particular situation, right? Being
Sure.
retired from the military, it provides me with a little bit different circumstance that I think that a lot of people face whenever they decide to start their own business. I don't just kind of like the paycheck, right? Being retired now, I still have income that comes in as a
Sure.
part of my service, and granted, um, it's not all that I would like to achieve
Sure.
financially the rest of my life, but it certainly provides me an opportunity to feel a little bit more secure in a decision like this.
It's a good net.
Um, yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
absolutely, and I think maybe to a certain extent that also provides a little bit of the fuel for my hesitation. Honestly, is
Sure.
talk about being able to be a little bit more picky, or being able to be in a position, or finding yourself in a position where you want to do something that you enjoy or that you're passionate about.
100%.
I think that if I were not in the financial position that I'm at, with a retirement check already coming in at my age, that things may be a little bit different. I may be not so gun shy. I may be a little bit more ready to pull the trigger on something and say, you know what, it's sink or swim. Let's get out here and make something happen. Um, Again, given my situation, I think that may even kind of lend itself for where I am more hesitant to go forward with just finding the thing versus finding a thing.
Yeah, and, I never thought about that before you started talking about it, and then I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, like, I can see, because it is a net, like, I've got this net, like, it's gonna catch me if I fall, it's not a big deal, but it also makes it so, like, I can just take my time, like, I don't have to jump, like, let me wait for that perfect thing to jump at before I take that leap, so to speak."
Yeah, I feel like I don't have to just throw spaghetti up against the wall, and
Right.
see what state, kind of a spray and pray mentality. I can afford to be a little bit more methodical in it, I think now. Um, Knowing me, there is going to come a time, and it needs to happen, right? The longer that things go, again, I've been retired for
Heather's gonna
two,
force you to go do something.
gonna make me get this is the first this put a shirt on for weeks, Uh, but in all sincerity, there is a kind of a lull period, or a time where I'm saying, okay, just for a little bit, you going 20 years or so at a pretty high pace, um, with not a lot of time off and some high stress situations. Yeah, I've enjoyed this downtime, but I'm rapidly approaching that point where I'm like, I need to get off the couch, and
Well,
go,
yeah,
and I would prefer not just to walk out into any 9 to 5
yeah,
that we can out and just be miserable.
yeah.
Especially if there are ways to do something I enjoy, put my own name on it, so to speak, and turn it into something.
Sure, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're a doer anyway. So literally, like, you're built to just get stuff done. So if you don't go get a job, you should, like, redo your entire house or something. Who knows what you'll end up doing down there?
I don't think Heather would agree with that. She said, "I'll read you parts of all of the house, not
Well,
finish."
yeah, fair, fair. You'll buy 20 different cars too.
Well, you've got to leave something for tomorrow. I mean,
Right.
you don't want to
Exactly. Yeah, set the expectation. I gotta keep the expectations low, right? I hear you. That's funny. So, yeah, I mean, it's just it's interesting. It's very interesting talking to you and just kind of seeing how your mind works again versus how mine works. And I can appreciate the fact that, like, hey, I don't have to make a decision on anything. I want to make sure it's the right thing. I don't want to rush into anything. I don't want to do something I know I'm not going to like, right? Like, there's no reason. I've just worked for 20 something years. Like, there's no reason to rush into something and going, man, that sucks. Because again, the problem is you're so loyal and are going to do what you say you're going to do. If you rush into something you don't like, you're going to be like, well, said I'm going to do it. Now I'm stuck. So,
I really have spent a lot of time thinking about that, to be honest
yeah,
with you. You know, and that's something that I'm a little bit afraid of as well. You know,
sure,
there's again being in this position, it and having the ability to get outside of what I've done for the last 20 years, um, comes with some, a lot of excitement, and I can go try jobs that I know I'm not going to enjoy just for the experience of learning,
sure,
l- learning a trade, something that I would not have otherwise done. And there are still networking opportunities in situations like that. And there's still ways to go about it the right way. It doesn't mean that you have to go into something that you don't enjoy and just be a bad employee or something
sure,
like that. Right. But, but again, I think that, I'm in a spot where the desire is there. The passion to create something, and do well at it is there. But I just don't know what it is yet, and
yeah,
that's the hardest for me, is to find something. We've talked about a couple different business ideas, and again, if my back were against the wall, I'd already be doing them, right?
sure,
But that's just the case, and I think that that's what has caused me, not to pull the trigger on it. Is I just really need to spend some more time finding out what it is that I would personally enjoy.
sure.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to ask people, what do you consider success? So for me, success is freedom. I used to think success was a big bank account, lots of money in it. And, I like to make money and have money in my bank account so I can pay my bills. Let's be very clear. But success for me is kind of what you and I both kind of have right now, which is being able to do baseball with our kids, being able to, for me, do soccer. I mean, you do soccer with yours as well. And, that's the freedom, is being able to spend time with your kids, be able to spend time with your wife, be able to spend time with family and friends. For me, that's what I consider success. So in your situation, I mean, what would be success? 5 years from now, what do you like? What does success look like to you, do you think?
yeah. I think success. I mean, I think success always comes inherently with a certain amount of financial freedom, right?
Sure.
I think you don't get into your own business with the intent that you're not going to make it, a successful monetary,
Sure.
gain in the venture, right? So, but I think that, for me, I think it would need to come with something that gives you a sense of accomplishment, right? Something like that you've done something that actually matters a little bit, right? Um, and and you really nailed it right on the head. I mean, the ability to spend time with my family, with my son, to be a part of his life, and his extracurricular activities while he's still young enough to allow me to be a part of
Sure.
them, uh,
Sure.
and kind of put them through him a little bit, so to speak. That's everything for me. A lot of people are in a situation where they've got, grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles and cousins, and all of these people surround them in their life, um, you know, physically in a very close proximity, right? And we just don't have that. Having moved
Yeah.
around the country, we literally are on an island, but also kind of
Mhm.
figuratively, it's
Sure.
just our little tribe. It's the three of us. So, um, the ability for me not to work myself into the ground, doing something that I really don't care about,
Yeah.
um, it would be a horrible, horrible choice that I'm just, fortunately, I don't have to make that, right.
Yeah.
That choice. To me, that's the most important thing right now, and always will be, is just family, and um, the ability to grow that successfully.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And you have the best of all worlds, really, in the fact that, you know you financially are secure enough that you don't have to jump into anything, and you can take your time to figure out exactly you want it to be. Again, whether it's an entrepreneurship journey or it's getting a 9 to 5 or part-time job. Like, I mean, like you literally, and do volunteer work, like whatever it is, you kind of can write your own ticket at this point and figure out what it is that you want to do. And there's a lot of people that will listen to this and be like, man, I wish I had that. So there's a lot to be jealous of, in my opinion.
No, and I'm aware of that, right? And I don't want to, I don't want to take it for granted. I
Sure.
do try to spend as much throughout the day, kind of giving back to the sports league, and to the community. I think that that's always important. And I don't want to seem like I'm not grateful or taking advantage of the situation that I'm currently in. Um, Again, I know I want to go somewhere and use this time and this energy that I still have and to create something. I just need to spend a little bit more time kind of figuring out what that is and how to go about it the proper way. I think some of the confidence, the issues come along with just not knowing enough about this world, right?
Sure.
Again, going back to the military thing, but everything's kind of laid out for you. This is your next step. This is what like this is our mission for next week. This is where you're going to be for the next 2 years or for the next 9 months or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
Um, and to step out into this world where I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know what this afternoon looks like just yet. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It is just different, and you know, it's something that I hate to feel like at 39 years old, I have to have somebody hold my hand through something like this. But really, it's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
And the look at it, the way that I approach it, the my willingness to take risk, that it really is a situation where I feel like I don't want to fail, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of, I feel like I'm stepping off into such uncharted territory, that's a very big concern.
Yeah. No, I can understand it. I mean, shoot, if I hadn't failed so many times, I'd be scared of it too, probably. But I've invented new ways to fail at this point. So, like, but yeah, I mean, it's very scary. Like even when I was young, and didn't have family, didn't have kids, it was still a scary thing. So yeah, I can definitely imagine that I mean, there's some hesitation. This is the first time jumping off a cliff, and you've literally been put on a path and said you cannot get off this path for 20 something years, right? And now it's like, hey, no, the path isn't there anymore. Do what you want. And it's like, I don't know about that. Like, let's think about that before we do something. So I can definitely appreciate that. Yeah, man, I appreciate you getting just your vulnerability, just being honest with everybody, kind of sharing where you're at. And I personally, as I've been watching this from the sidelines, just down the road, I'm excited to see what you do next. Obviously, I am biased and want you to start your own business, but I always try to bully everybody into doing it at least once, right? So that way you know what it's like for the rest of us crazy people. But yeah, I do appreciate the time, but yeah, I'm excited to see where this takes you and the family for sure.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate you having me on today. But more than that, I really appreciate the type of neighbor and friend and mentor for me that you've been over, especially the last couple months as I've approached that transition, and your willingness to take time, energy, and effort and pour into me, even even as we are right now, where I haven't started my own business. You're still willing to take that time and sit and talk with me and provide some of that guidance for the questions that I have, and to help other people with the same thing. So, truly,
Absolutely.
I genuinely appreciate everything you've done for me and for our family.
Absolutely, man. I'm always here ready to talk business. So always ready. All right, sir. I appreciate it. Have a great afternoon, and thanks again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
All right, that's a wrap for today's episode. Your next step, take what you've learned today and put it into action. Now, if this episode gave you something to think about, do me a favor and leave a review or share it with someone you think needs to hear it. And if you have any thoughts, let's continue this discussion. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Let's simplify entrepreneurship together. We'll see you on the next one.